The richest girl in the class cornered Ivy in the back of the room and threw a black Amex card at her. If your family is dead broke, just say so. As long as you admit that you stole the diamond ring Ashton gave me and apologize to me in front of the whole class, I'll reward you with this $1 million. I'll just write it off as a donation to a stray dog. The live chat floating in front of Ivy's eyes frantically scrolled past. The angst redemption arc has officially begun. The male lead actually believes she stole the ring. He takes it upon himself to take the blame for her and apologizes to the rich girl. From then on, the female lead gets bullied by the whole school and gets harassed until she drops out. Not only that, her mother gets into a car crash and can't afford the medical bills. She grits her teeth and refuses to beg him, which leads to her mother passing away. Her college exams get sabotaged by the rich girl. After she drops out and goes back to her village to farm, the male lead finally learns the truth by accident and starts his desperate groveling. Before the chat could even finish scrolling, they saw Ivy snatch the black card right out of the heiress's hand. She dropped to her knees right at Blair's designer heels and slammed her forehead against the floor in 3 solid bows. I admit it. Listen up, everyone. It was my fault. Thank you for your generous reward, my lady. Woof, 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 woof. The live chat slowly floated past in stunned silence. What the hell? The female lead. Why is she fighting and grabbing for it? What was an angsty redemption arc? Ivy was a country girl. She didn't understand. Before she saw the chat say that she was the female led in an angst-ridden novel, who was destined to be tortured 1,000 times, she was still chewing on the end of her mechanical pencil, racking her brain trying to figure out if she wanted to gorge herself on a massive pork knuckle for lunch, how she was going to survive the rest of the month on $20. Ah, her diamond ring. It really is in Ivy's bag. A loud shriek shattered her daydreams. Blair, with a few of her minions in tow, had surrounded Ivy right before the final bell, under the watchful eyes of the entire class. Blair, the wealthy heiress, reached in with a trembling hand. She reached into Ivy's backpack, which still had a smudge of chicken crap on it, and pulled out a glittering diamond ring. Ivy glanced at the ring box. Did Harry Potter and Wendy's Rowry a collaboration ring? Blair's perfectly manicured face twisted with smug satisfaction. Her eyes instantly went red. Ivy, and you still claim you didn't steal it. This ring is the token Ashton gave me. It's the engagement ring for our arranged marriage. A flurry of comments instantly drifted across Ivy's vision. The angst redemption arc has begun. The scholarship student and the rich boy. I love this trope. The rich boy is about to apologize on her behalf. But the rich boy is a little brain dead here. But he's only doing it because he loves her. The person above me is the brain dead one, without even looking at the facts. He slanders the female lead for stealing a ring worth hundreds of thousands. You call that love? It causes Ivy to be bullied by the whole class until she drops out. You call that love? Why don't you let the rich boy love you instead? Ivy stared blankly at the comments in front of her, trying to piece together the truth of the situation. It turned out that she, a simple country girl, was actually the protagonist of a highly abusive, angst-ridden romance novel. The female lead would endure being framed for theft, bullied by the entire school until she dropped out, falling into absolute poverty, having her mother die in a car crash because they couldn't afford the bills, being ostracized at her part-time jobs, being tricked by the male lead into a seaside hookup, and missing her college entrance exams. After a massive cascade of torturous events, she would finally receive the male lead's desperate groveling, and the version of her currently barely surviving by farming in the countryside kicked her boots off and swore, "Was this right? An angsty redemption arc?" It turned out they literally wanted to send the female lead to the crematorium. Damn. Even slaughtering the New Year's pig in the village wasn't this torturous. Blair interrupted her train of thought. She gave an arrogant laugh. She seemed to really enjoy the mocking stares the entire class was directing at Ivy. She pulled out a black Amex card and waved it in front of Ivy's face. "I know your family is from the countryside. If you have no money, you can just ask. I have plenty of cash. Ivy, if you just honestly admit you stole it, and apologize to me in front of everyone, I'll just treat this $1 million as feeding a stray." Ivy's face flushed bright red. The live chat started scrolling like crazy. It's over. The female lead is going to cry. but there are no cameras in the classroom. She has no way to prove her innocence. Why would she cry? She had to ask. Who could have $1 million waved in their face and not get completely flushed and short of breath? Could they? Did they have that kind of cash? Ivy barely managed to hold back a maniacal grin. She wanted to reach out and take that glittering bank card. Blair was spoiling her so much. If this wasn't love, what was? Blair, stop bullying, Ivy. A deep, magnetic voice interrupted the intimate atmosphere between Ivy and the heiress. Ashton, fresh out of gym class, walked into the classroom. His 8-pack abs were soaked in sweat, faintly showing their rigid outlines through his shirt. A massive boom echoed in the sky. Ta-da! The male lead makes his dramatic entrance. So exciting, the male lead is about to play the hero. Ivy looked at Ashton in pure terror. Once upon a time, his voice in her ears sounded like an angel, a melodic blessing. Now it sounded like a wet fart, noxious and grating. Ivy didn't do it on purpose. Shut the hell up. Ivy launched herself into the air. She rolled up her sleeve and slapped him right across the face. She literally slapped him straight into the trash can in the corner of the classroom. Under Blair's horrified gaze, Ivy took 2 steps forward, snatched the black card out of her hand, and dropped to the floor with a thud. She yelled at the top of her lungs, "I did do it on purpose. I did it on purpose. I did it on purpose." Ignoring the heiress's deathly pale face, Ivy's expression bloomed like a spring flower. "It was all my fault. My lady, I will gladly accept this $1 million. Just consider it funding for a dog." Woof, 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 woof. Blair finally snapped out of her shock. The terror on her face was replaced by pure anger. She pointed a delicate, pale finger at Ivy, shaking with rage. She actually naively attempted to take back her premium black card. Was that even possible? Trying to outspeed a country girl. Even when the health supplement vans rolled into the village to hand out free eggs, Ivy outran every single old lady in town and snatched the very first basket. Do you have no shame? Before Blair could even finish her sentence, Ivy had already stuffed the black card straight into her impressive 30-60 cleavage. She smiled shyly. "My tuition for the month is officially covered." "My lady, you really are a saint." Blair's raised hand slowly lowered back down, across her face. A flash of irritation crossed with an unknown sense of bashfulness. The entire class looked at Ivy, their eyes instantly filled with jealousy and a trace of bitterness. The live chat was absolutely chaotic. What the hell? Why don't you let me play this role for a couple episodes? I'm the real country bumpkin here. Have you ever slop-fed a pig? Have you ever seen pigweed at 4 a.m? Ivy waved a hand, swatting away, the screen full of green text. She lifted her chin proudly, just as she was about to kiss the back of Blair's pristine hand. The very next second, her wrist was grabbed by Ashton. He pushed his tongue against the inside of his cheek, looking deeply conflicted. His eyes held 3 parts mockery and 4 parts careless indifference as he said, "Ivy, you don't have to humiliate yourself by apologizing to her. I can pay her back for you. Using money to insult you. I simply will not allow it." The live chat erupted in screams. Wow, is this the power of an alpha CEO? I'm in love. Watching Blair's face turn darker and darker, Ivy realized the harmonious vibe they had just built was about to vanish completely. She panicked. Ring, ring, ring. Thankfully, the dismissal bell saved her. Get lost. Kick, kick, kick. Ivy suddenly kicked Blair right on the back of the hand. To express her loyalty, Blair screaming behind her. She shoved Ashton, who looked like he was heavily constipated, out of the way. She whipped her hair back flawlessly. She called out to her deskmate Daisy. "Let's go. Today's entire tab is being picked up by Lord Ivy. Feels good, right?" The 2 of them sat face to face to end the greasy local diner. Each of them held a massive bowl of rice, loaded with a fried egg, sausage, and extra braised pork knuckle. They ate until their mouths were slick with grease. Daisy didn't even look up as she nodded. "So good. Eat up. Your stepmom isn't going to save any dinner for you anyway." Ivy chewed on a massive chunk of pork, looking at Daisy's emaciated arms and sighing. Daisy's mother passed away when she was young. From the day her stepmom and stepbrother moved in, there was no room left for Daisy in their tiny 300-square-foot apartment. Every day before school, Daisy starved, never knowing where her next meal was coming from. She spent all her free time scavenging plastic bottles on the football field, saving up pennies just to buy a scrap of food. Even so, she still made time to eagerly help out Ivy, the poor scholarship student. When Ivy transferred from the countryside, her grades were terrible, and she had 0 friends. Daisy was the only one who tirelessly helped her, watching her eat until her mouth was coated in grease. Ivy reached out and tucked a strand of hair behind Daisy's ear. The dormant live chat suddenly flared to life. So this is Daisy. What a shame. Later on, just to make the female lead suffer more from the male lead's abuse. The plot dictates that Daisy gets assaulted by her stepbrother and jumps off a building right before the college entrance exams. Yes, her life was incredibly tragic right now. The grandmother who loved her most was dying of cancer. In the countryside, waiting for the end. Daisy didn't have a single penny. She could only watch the person she loved most fade away. Completely powerless, Ivy's chopsticks paused. Daisy, is your grandma sick? Daisy jerked her head up in shock, staring at Ivy. Her eyes instantly welled up with tears. Ivy pulled out the black card and smoothly slid it across the table. Take your grandma to the hospital. Ivy. Daisy started to say, but Ivy pinched her lips shut. Money is never more important than people. And there's always a payback. After revenge eating their massive pork knuckle bowls, Ivy dragged Daisy to the luxury boutique of her dreams. Daisy clung to her arm, looking at her in pure awe. Ivy hiked up the waistband of her sweatpants and pointed majestically at an entire wall of clothes. Ma'am, take that entire row down. Seeing the boutique owner's stunned expression, Ivy let out the tinkling, bell-like laughter of the ultra-rich. Ha 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 ha. Unfortunately, the joy didn't last long. When she went back for evening study hall, before she even stepped into the classroom, she heard Ashton joking around with his frat boy friends. It's your birthday this weekend. You gonna take the scholarship student's virginity? Ashton let out a cold scoff, smiling faintly. Yeah, Ivy is so obsessed with me. Why not use her for practice? After all, I'm marrying Blair eventually. I don't want to accidentally hurt my future wife. Ashton's buddy laughed and chimed in. Ivy's 36D chest is definitely the real deal. You better share the details with the boys afterward. Tell us how it feels. Ashton raised an eyebrow. Obviously, I am your father. Ivy squeezed her fists so tight they looked like sandbags, just about to charge in. When the live chat went completely insane, scrolling across her vision. Oh my god, why is this plot point happening so early? Shouldn't the female lead overhear this conversation at the birthday party? After the male lead takes her virginity. Right. And then the female lead, covered in bruises, turns around and runs away in a pathetic state. It's the most angsty part of the whole novel. After, the female lead realizes the male lead was just playing with her. She silently goes to the school administration and declines the male lead's family scholarship. Half a month later, she transfers back to a small town in the countryside, starting the countdown to her disappearance. The plot had advanced. Ivy stared at the original storyline, her vision going black. Seriously? Are country people not considered human to this author? Are we just lab rats to be tortured? The live chat started chirping again. Thank God both leads are virgins in this novel. Even if the female lead knows the plot early, this weekend. The male lead fakes a fever, and the female lead still goes to him, willingly surrendering her body. But right after they sleep together, the male lead immediately plays a kissing game with the rich girl right in front of her, completely destroying the female lead's heart. Ivy stared at this incomprehensible garbage plot, completely silenced. This author needed to be investigated. This didn't seem like something a human could write. During Friday classes, Ashton predictably passed her a note. It's my birthday this weekend. You don't need to bring a gift. Wearing this set to see me will be the best gift of all. Right behind the note came a small cardboard box, passed down the aisle. Ashton's buddy gave her a leering, mocking look. Ivy tore it open. It was a set of black lace crotchless lingerie. Screw this guy. How dare he bully a country girl? She immediately raised her hand high in the air. Teacher, someone is harassing me. I can't take it anymore. The gossiping eyes of the entire class instantly locked onto her. A bead of cold sweat was visibly sliding down Ashton's forehead. Daisy was even more supportive. She widened her eyes, staring in absolute shock at the fabric in Ivy's hand, and pointed a trembling finger at it, screaming, "Pervert! Isn't that crotchless underwear?" The classroom erupted in chaos. seeing the teacher rushing over. Ivy quickly hoisted the tiny scraps of fabric in the air, like a wild gorilla in the rainforest. She sprinted through the aisles, doing a feral lap around the entire classroom to display the evidence, and then chucked it directly at Ashton's head. The black lace thong landed perfectly, draping right over his face, covering his beet-red cheeks. Mr. Ashton, I don't know how to wear these tiny scraps of cloth. If you like them so much, wear them yourself. The students looked at their former god-tier idol, their gazes, finally shifting into something deeply complicated. The live chat was screaming in pure panic. This is wrong. This isn't how it goes. The female lead supposed to avoid the male lead and endure it silently until the countdown finishes and she leaves. If the female lead doesn't give up her first blood, how is she going to form a deep, unbreakable bond with the male lead? Later on, she's supposed to have a miscarriage because the rich girl pushes her. Ivy snapped. She pointed a finger at the live chat, jumping up and down like a rabid dog, foaming at the mouth, screaming, "Why don't you go donate blood? If you love him so much, you do it. If you've got so much blood, go donate 10 pints. In that moment, the live chat completely froze. A second later, everyone started deflecting. He's your husband, you do it. No, he's your husband. Ivy wanted to slap the live chat twice across the face, but she suffered from the physical limitation of not being able to reach through the screen. The teacher awkwardly pulled Ivy aside. Ivy, calm down. This might just be someone's prank. Seeing his attitude of wanting to sweep it under the rug, Ivy was instantly furious. This weekend, she had to go home to feed the chickens and chop pigweed. Why the hell should she go to Ashton's birthday party to donate blood? He didn't have to work for a living, but she did. Her old soul was about to give birth. Was this inhuman plot still refusing to let her go? Ivy, stop making a scene. Ashton's face was deathly pale. He stood up awkwardly. Just as he reached out to grab her, Ivy immediately dropped to the floor like a sack of bricks. She burst into tears, wailing in agony, rolling around all over the floor, and then started darkly crab-walking across the tiles. This silky smooth combo left the entire class absolutely paralyzed. When she crawled all the way to Blair's feet, she looked up, right in the reflective surface of the heiress's desk. She saw her own face covered in giant snot bubbles. Blair wrinkled her nose. She pulled out a tissue and pinched it between her fingers, offering it to Ivy. Don't touch me with that. Blair really was a saint. Those tissues were the premium imported ones. Just as Ivy reached out her hand, the homeroom teacher rushed into the classroom in a panic. Ivy, come with me right now. Your mother came to the city to see you and got into a car crash. Ivy froze instantly. The live chat began to scroll like crazy. Here it comes. Here it comes. The female lead's second major angst plot point has arrived. Her mother is waiting in the ER for emergency surgery. And the female lead tries to borrow money from the male lead, but the male lead coldly mocks her, asking if she was only ever after his money. After being insulted, the female lead refuses to explain what the money is for, and runs Wazimus crying in silent agony. It isn't until the female lead's mother passes away that the male lead finally learns the truth. He is consumed by regret and begins his groveling pursuit. He even hires the best funeral parlour in the entire capital to throw a grand, magnificent funeral for the female lead's mother. Oh God, what a deeply restrained, hidden love. Wait, something wasn't right. Didn't the female lead take the rich girl's $1 million? Her mother shouldn't die, and the female lead shouldn't need to beg him, right? But the female lead gave the $1 million to Daisy. She can only save one person. Who will the female lead choose? Ivy turned her head and looked at Daisy. Who would she choose? Ivy is screwed now, right? She played too big of a game. But Daisy had already stood up. She pulled out Ivy's black card, just about to speak up, when Ivy whipped her head around, tears welling in her eyes, and looked pleadingly at Blair. My lady, my mom is in trouble. You've always been so powerful. I'm terrified. Can you come with me to see her? Holy shit, Ivy. Where did you learn to be such a green tea bitch? Ivy raised an eyebrow at the live chat. She knew the male lead wouldn't lend her the money, so why the hell would she demean herself by asking him? The heiress was incredibly rich too, and she was beautiful and kind-hearted. Why wouldn't she beg her instead? Oh my god, the female lead actually has a mouth and knows how to use it. Damn. What is the point of watching this then? Ivy ignored the chat. Ashton's face looked terrible. He shot up from his desk. Ivy, I'll go with you. Why the hell would she want him there? Blair hadn't originally planned to go with her. But the second she heard the young master speak up, she instantly panicked. You are not allowed to go. Come on, I'll go with you. If you think throwing panties at Ashton was wild, wait until Ivy brings her farmhouse fashion to his birthday party. Part 2 is where the medical bills get paid, and the romantic tropes completely self-destruct.